Warriors, Wizards, One Shot! Over at Kickstarter.com, the One Shot Podcast Network is currently funding the first season of The Dungeon Dome, an actual play experience that combines the style of professional wrestling with the storytelling power of Dungeons and Dragons. Performers will take on the roles of fantasy gladiators, battling it out in player versus player matches for wealth and glory. The Dungeon Dome will feature some of your favorite actual play performers, including Kat Cool of the Campaign Podcast, Mike Migdal of the Neo Scum, Pat O'Rourke of the Dungeon Rats Podcast, and Aram Farshin of God's Fall. But we can't make this project without your help, so head over to Kickstarter right now and look up The Dungeon Dome. $25 get you a seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Everything is Awesome is part of Courts and Parts, a podcast network featuring pop culture, TV, movie, and geek podcasts. Check out some of our other shows, like TV Ate My Brain, Let's Chat with Revelin Friends, and Podstalgic at courtsandparts.com.
Awesome. Just tell people they're awesome and mean it.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome.
Did you have an awesome time? Did you drink awesome shooters and listen to awesome music and then just sit around and soak up each other's awesomeness?
Awesome. 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 That was awesome. You guys are awesome.
No.
You're awesome. You are awesome.
Sir, you are awesome. Seriously.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Welcome to this week's edition of Everything is Awesome. I'm your host, Kev, and this week, simply because I have an episode that needs to be out within 24 hours, and I don't have a guest lined up and whatnot, I decided to sit around and talk about life, I guess, in general, but specifically probably talk a little bit about LA since I just got back from the West Coast with the most LA person I know in real life, Mike DeAngelo.
I'm like the redheaded step-host of the show.
Well, you're the natural co-host when I need a filler spot because you're also the co-host of the live show.
It's true.
That we do. So
Our last live show went really good, by the way.
I really enjoyed it. I did. And that, I mean, by the time you're listening to this, it has been up and you have listened to it and it is good. Huge thanks, to the Philadelphia Podcasting Society for putting together the festival. Nate and Tegan, they did a wonderful job scheduling over 60 shows, pulling together a bunch of sponsors to make it happen. Tattooed Moms, as always, was a great little venue to do it at. And Noah, dude.
So did you see
someone
pledged $3,000
really?
or some shit? Yeah, because he was nowhere near.
Yeah.
Yesterday. It was like 17% or 18% or something like that. So good for Noah. I mean, somebody came through big for him.
I'm wondering if someone pledged $3,000 ironically, and then the rest got built up.
That's possible.
Because I saw him post like, why not post ironically? So can you? I thought about doing it. I thought about I'll bump it up to $200.
I didn't. You would have been shit. I went to KickTrack to try and see like what the difference was, but KickTrack does by day anyway. So even if I was able to find it, it would have just been like, all right, like we got $5,000 that last day. I'm glad that it did.
Yeah, because it is something that totally is unique and worthwhile to see.
And dude electrified his nipples.
Yeah. Oh God. I mean, y'all listen to that live show, and if you haven't, go back. I think it's episode 77. Go back and listen to episode 77, where Noah legit hooks himself up to an electroshock thing. And Mike just tweaks that thing to full capacity.
Tweaked his nipples. I think, by the way, for every live show, we should do some kind of electric game from now on.
That's the kind, and it's funny because when I first started talking to Noah about, and I said this kind of during the live show, my intention was for like us all to do something that would be like, Noah would say, "Oh, for the rest of this interview, you're going to do this, Kev," and I'd say, "Well, Mike, for the rest of the interview, you're going to do this." And you'd say, "Well, Noah, for the rest of the interview, you're going to do this." And that's what was going through my head.
Wasn't quite like that.
Noah decided to hook himself up and torture himself, but it worked out in the end.
It worked out well. He probably made about $100 that day.
And I mean, on top of all the money he needed for the actual Game of the Gamer through the Kickstarter, he raised money out of all the live shows he's done at conventions and stuff. I've known. I mean, Noah hasn't really known me, but I've known of Noah since I Like to Movie
Plus 2 Comedy and everything.
did their live show with about Star Wars, and he was there. I don't really know Plus 2 Comedy. I know that they do panels and stuff, and he asked me to be on his podcast, and it was when I was going camping. I took 2 vacations in the last 2 weeks, and I went camping, and he asked me, "Hey, do you want to do the show tomorrow?" I was like, "I can't. I'm going to be out of town for the next 2 weeks, basically." So I'm hoping to be on his show soon. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I volunteered myself to be a stretch goal, which, I mean, obviously none of his stretch goals got hit. I mean, first of all, that shouldn't even, let's not even worry about that. The fact that, if you ask for any amount of money, let alone, I think, if you're asking for more than $2,000, that's a huge achievement to win with a Kickstarter. I think $2,000 is something that I could probably achieve, but to get, I think he was asking near $7,000, and I know you've done bigger Kickstarters.
Well, I mean, $2,000 was the biggest I've done.
Okay, yes, I think that's maybe that's why I think it's attainable because you did it. But,
and we've made stretch goals. We got to 3,000.
Oh, okay,
so,
yeah.
But 2,000 was the most we've ever asked, which is going to be interesting because we're going to be asking for 12 when Quantum Quest is fun.
But yeah, I mean, I think if you're asking for more than 2, that's just a shot in the dark, basically.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, Noah's a dude who I think definitely deserves it. I really like Game the Gamer, the idea. Go check it out. I think it was I don't know if it still goes there, but plus2comedy.net I think led directly to the Kickstarter. But just look up Plus 2 Comedy or Game the Gamer on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, and you'll find information about it. My guess is he's going to start production on it very soon. Once he gets down from his Kickstarter high of winning.
Yeah, you definitely need to take a little bit of time. And plus, he's probably going to have to wait the month to get funded. Because
Yeah. But I'm sure there's
Sure.
all that
They're
stuff.
going to figure out who's going to be in what episode.
Yeah, I still would do it.
I would too.
Yeah, I would 100% be fine with being part. It's such a neat concept. If you're into video games, even if you're not, it's just a fun game show. Anyway,
so you went to LA, huh?
yeah. So God, I'm so tired because I landed as of this recording. I landed about 6 hours ago.
Oh wow!
And
you went right to work.
I went right. I came to the in-laws' house to see the kids and say hello to them. And then Jen stayed with them so she could nap and hang out with them and whatnot. And I went home and got a shower, went to work. Luckily I was able to nap.
So you got a red eye, essentially, right?
So we left LA at 6:20 their time, which was 9:20 our time.
That's not too bad.
Landed in Denver. We took off late in LA. We got to Denver by 10 their time. So 9 Pacific and midnight our time. And then we didn't take off until I think after midnight.
So it was essentially a red eye.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 11:39 flight, I think, out. It turned into a legit red eye because I think we started boarding around midnight. I forget what time we officially took off.
I can't believe you're awake, but if anyone could do it, you could. So
sleep, dude. But let me tell you about LA, and this whole trip, it makes me want to write this down and formulate it into actual jokes to do stand up, because this is how amazing part of this trip was. I felt like a goddamn giant. First of all,
they accidentally bring you to China or Japan?
It almost felt like it. And it didn't really click until the third thing happened. It's the rule of 3, There was, it could have been Chicago, but I think it was the LAX airport where I stopped to use the bathroom, and the urinal was kind of low. And I wasn't using a kid one. They were just all kind of low. I was like, that's weird, but whatever. I guess, that's just how they do it. And then we stayed at an Airbnb. First and foremost, the Airbnb, I doubt they're going to listen to this because they don't even know I do a podcast. But for whatever reason, if you're listening to this and you put 2 and 2 together, nothing against you and your home. It was wonderful. Very generous people to open up their home to complete strangers. And it was a clean, comfy stay. That being said, to get a shower in the Airbnb shower, Remember that you've seen Elf, right?
Yes.
You know that scene in Elf when Will Ferrell is getting a shower and he's just like,
because it's just barely hitting his shoulder and he's trying to splash it up into his face.
I kid you not, I was Buddy the Elf in the shower. And I'm like, and Jen warned me, she's like, it's a little like the spout's low, so you're going to have to duck. But it wasn't just that I had to duck to like, it was the size of the whole stall. I had to like, literally like, bend ways that I didn't know I could bend. Do you think
it was just like a small bathroom because like homes are so expensive there?
I don't know. I have no idea. It seems, we stayed in Anaheim. It seems like Anaheim is primarily Hispanic. And I know, like, you know...
Hispanic people are, I guess, a little smaller on
They're usually shorter than me. You know, not to generalize, but, you know, they tend to be smaller. But, like, this guy was probably my size. I think he's from Brazil because he has another home on Airbnb that's in Brazil. But, like, no one there was specifically small in the house, like, from what I could tell, except for, like, their kid who was, you know, 3 years old, so obviously small.
Were you showering in the kid's shower?
Dude,
they had a hidden regular bathroom somewhere?
Well, I mean, definitely. They have to have a normal shower. I would hope they have a normal shower in their actual bathroom. But that wasn't what clued me off. It was, we went to breakfast at this restaurant called Coco's out there. It's like it seems like it's a franchise because I saw a couple of them out there. It's a breakfast place, like a little diner. And I go to use the bathroom there. And again, and the urinal, low. Like, super low. Like,
now, what about the sink? So the sink.
Oh, regular? I'm getting to it. So at Coco's, it literally, like, the bowl of the urinal, you know what I mean? Like, was probably below my knee.
Oh, wow.
And, like, again, I was sitting there like, okay, I guess.
Now,
like,
was it a urinal or was it a full-on toilet?
Urinal.
Okay.
Urinal.
So it's not even like they're like about the squat idea.
No, and I don't know what the bathroom looked like because I didn't go into the actual like toilet stall. But like, I'm like, hey, this is a little low. Like, this is like if like a 2-year-old could stand and pee, which I guess some could, but like theoretically, a 2-year-old could have peed in that toilet.
Now at the Airbnb, was the toilet low in there, or was the toilet regular height there?
I think it was regular height.
Okay.
I think it was regular height. But, and then I was like, this is really low, really weird. And then I went to the sink, and again, that was like to my thighs. And I'm like, that's a low sink. Like, everything in LA was so small and weird.
Well, they said California's like its own country.
It was California, and I've been to California before for work. Have you ever been to California?
Not yet.
I've been to California for work. I like years ago, it had to be over 10 years ago. I flew out to LAX and then drove to Mountain View to do an install at a amphitheater, like for anyone that lives in the Philly area, like the Tweeter Center or whatever the fuck it's called now. And then this is the first time I've been back since, and it was the trip was great. Loved the trip. Anaheim was great. I mean, it was literally like a 10-minute drive wherever we wanted to go. Like, we went to Disneyland, which was really like. So Disneyland's interesting. Have you ever been to?
I've been to World. I haven't been to Land, obviously.
So the way Disneyland Resort works, which consists of Disneyland, California Adventure, and Downtown Disney, is it's all like one little area. I guess because like when Disney, and I always thought Disney World was first, but Disneyland was first, and to my knowledge. And I guess like there just wasn't enough property for him to purchase up, or like Disneyland was kind of like an experimental idea.
I mean, that makes sense. Land is kind of smaller,
yeah.
World's kind of bigger, so World was where he put like most of his emphasis.
Well, and like he owns, like there's land, like there's water parks that are closed down in World. There's land that has been, I think, unused that he owns.
Well, there's something like wherever the Indiana Jones thing was in World or Land, one of the two of them, like it's all overgrown now and stuff. Like they just kind of let it be or something. I know of 2 Indiana Jones things between the 2 of them. In World, it's actually at Hollywood Studios, and it's like a stunt show. Yeah, I know. We saw that. And at one of the parks, there's some kind of like...
There's a ride in Disneyland that was amazing.
Well, there must have been something where it was closed down at some... Or you know what? Maybe it was like a Robinson Crusoe thing.
That's what it is. Yeah, there is a Well, I don't know if it's a Robinson Crusoe land, but I think it's one of the water parks had like that theme, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to research it again.
But no,
for the purposes of this podcast,
there is a water park in Disney World that's closed down and it's overgrown, and like I've seen pictures of it. It actually looks pretty neat with it being closed down, and I don't want to say run down, but just overgrown.
Yeah.
But that's how much land and property that Disney owns in Florida, is that like I think they could open up, and I don't know if this is what they're doing for Star Wars, but they could literally open up another theme park or two.
I'm sure they could.
And like there's just I believe unused acres of land in Florida.
Meanwhile, Universal, they don't have any more land that they can expand to. They have to close down rides.
And that's how I think basically Disneyland and California Adventure had Tower of Terror, and
Which
they
is
had
now the Guardians of the
they had to repurpose that. So like I don't think California has room to expand for Disney. They have to modify things. But we just did Disneyland. We were going back and forth between which park we wanted to do, and we did Disneyland. And like so, again, if you've been to Disney World, it's shoulder to shoulder, even on a slow day. Like, it's just like, at least in the Magic Kingdom, it's always jam-packed. And Disneyland is basically, or I guess Magic Kingdom is basically a replica of Disneyland. Difference being, the castle in Disneyland, as soon as we walked in, I looked at it's literally like a toy castle.
Oh, really?
Compared to, like, it's taller than me.
But only just.
But, like, it's probably as tall as
one of these trees in front of us.
Maybe it's tall. It was maybe it was shorter than like the
so
trees.
There's no
in
people
Thornridge.
Going in there.
You can walk through it
or whatever.
No, you can walk through it. It's got like an arc that you can walk under. Arch that you can walk under. But I don't think you can climb up in it like you can in Disney World, where you can actually like go. That's where you go and have lunch with princesses in the top of the castle at World. So that was weird because that was, and I hate to compare because like it's its own thing, but like you have to compare because it's so similar. And then we did a bunch of rides. We did every ride we wanted to. It is bigger than Sesame Place, which is, for people listening, that's a local amusement park near Mike and I. It's bigger than that, but I would say the ratio of like people per square foot was the same. Like, it wasn't shoulder to shoulder like it is at Disney World, or at least in Magic Kingdom. It was from 8:30 to 2:30. We were able to do every ride. Now they have this new Max Pass thing that is basically Fast Pass from Disney World, and you do it from your phone and whatnot. So we got that because it was like $10 a person, and you were able to book one at a time every like half hour. So we did every ride. We did so the ones that compare to Disney World, we did Space Mountain, which is weird because I would say it's not as thrilling as Disney World's or as Magic Kingdom's, but it's interesting because it sits two next to each other
instead of the three.
It's 2 and 3 back versus single rider 3 back.
That's really weird.
It is weird, and I think maybe that could be one of the reasons why I was like not as like
into it.
No, I was into it. I liked it, but it wasn't like, oh my god, like, because I am with fucking roller coaster type rides. Like, I hate it. Like,
hey, remember when you got stuck on one?
Oh my god, that was awful.
They're closing that ride now officially.
Isn't it already?
They repurposed it for Harry Potter, but it's still the same ride essentially.
Yeah.
But now they're closing it and making a brand new ride.
Oh, are they gonna like tear it down and?
Yeah. It's gonna be a new Harry Potter ride.
So we did that. I would say like the Space Mountain at Disney World is better. It's like more thrilling, but it's interesting here. I think this one is something like this one. I think I could take at least one of my kids on. Like, they would enjoy it. The other one not so much. And it's not as, it's dark, but not as dark. Pirates of the Caribbean was actually better at Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
It is basically the same, but it starts out and ends a little differently, and like things are kind of placed differently, but like even when they're placed differently, it's basically the same ride. But the very beginning is different. It goes through like in a restaurant. Like, you start out, like it's so crazy. I guess because there's just like very little room in Disneyland, and it was. But I would say I like it better there because like You've been to Pirates?
Yeah.
I don't remember there being any kind of drops like in the beginning.
I don't really either. It was, for the most part, I thought it was all
just
straight.
Kind of.
It's a very lazy log flume, essentially.
Yeah, Disneyland's Pirates have like 2 little drops that are like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting that. So that was cool. I enjoyed that one a lot. Splash Mountain, which I have not done in Disney, wherever it is in Disney World. I think it's in the Magic Kingdom, but haven't done. But we did it here. That was really cool. That was, we were discussing that and Indiana Jones, which I'll get to in a second. We were figuring out which one we liked better because they both were ranked pretty high. And then we ended up doing Indiana Jones a second time at night, and Indiana Jones won out.
And Indiana Jones there is not the stunt show.
It's an actual ride. It reminds me of the Mummy from Universal.
So it's almost like one of those, like, you're in a ride and they kind of have like things going on around you.
No, because the Mummy is the indoor roller coaster.
It's an indoor roller coaster, but they have like the other things like the pyrotechnics. And
yeah. So you're in. What's really cool, is that when you're in line waiting, Sala is talking, and they I guess this ride's been there probably since the 80s or early 90s or something.
So like when Raiders was out.
Yeah. So like the John Rice Davies. Like, it's him from that era, like, on screen, and, like, he's not, it's picture, it's all a picture, because, you know, I guess they didn't have a movie back when this ride was set, but, so that's cool, because it kind of puts you in there. I think there's a quick picture of Harrison Ford as Indy, but it could have been just someone else, like, because it was a side view, but it was really cool. You're in a car, it sits, like, 12 people, three to a row or something like that, 4 to a row. And it's just like a super bumpy ride.
So no Rihanna on this one.
It is. Yeah, I mean, if you don't like going off-roading, it's not a ride for you. But it is. And the thing that most reminds me of the Mummy is that there's this point where, like, you stop because Indy's hanging there from his whip, and then the boulder, of course, is coming. And you kind of go backwards a little bit, and then you drop.
I like that. That was one of the things that you had the scarabs coming out of the wall. In
the
Mummy.
Yeah. So this was a lot less like that kind of effect and a lot more practical.
You figure 20, 25 years ago, they're not going to have that kind of.
It's so good. I think it's worth going to Disneyland alone for that ride.
And how much were tickets at Disneyland?
$116 for the day. I think it's about the same price as that. But yeah, Disneyland.
Do you think can you do everything you want to do in one day?
Yeah. For in each park, you would need to. I think you would need to go 2 days.
Okay.
One for each park. I don't think you vacation to Disneyland for like a week-long vacation.
Yeah, and I mean even with Disney World, like we wrapped up a couple of the things earlier than we thought. We probably
Disney World Disney World you totally need, and this is coming from the one who has kids, but Disney World you fully need the 8 days. I mean, I think we went for 8 or 9 days this year.
Yeah, see, I mean, when we went on our honeymoon, we had a 4-day pass, and really we didn't need the 4-day.
We 4 days I think is perfect because we did. Now
you do have kids, so for 2 people who are just by themselves, one who can't ride a lot of rides.
Yeah.
So I was going, and here's the thing that ticks me off about Disney, they don't have the single rider lines on very many of their rides. It's only like 2 or 3.
Almost all Disneyland has
that's
that.
Good.
But if you and I think the way Disney World works, unfortunately, is to get the Fast Pass. I think you have to be staying in the resort.
Well, that makes sense too.
Maybe you could add it still.
Because that Fast Pass sounded very cheap.
Well, it's so to my understanding, Disneyland offers right now the Fast Pass free to every guest, but it's all paper distribution, and this is how Disney World used to be. Now with the Max Pass, it's an introductory rate of $10 per day per guest.
Because they're trying to get everybody to go.
But it's totally like Disneyland to me is like an amusement park, whereas Magic Kingdom or Disney World is an experience.
Yeah.
For me, even as an adult, and this is because I can go on rides, like Jen likes to go on rides, and I would say, like me and you, if we were to go to Disney World, we could probably go for 4 days and not have enough time to do everything, because you and I would probably do almost all the rides.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, just from when we went to Universal, this is what I'm basing it on. Because there is just so much to do there. If you're skipping out on a lot of rides, yeah, you could absolutely do it quick. But I think for our vacation that we took to Disney World this year, we went for I think 8 or 9 days, something like that. And that was too much simply based on the fact that it just was...
And you were in the parks all 8 days.
Yeah. And we did Magic Kingdom like 3 or 4 days, and that was just too many. It's I think Disneyland works at like 7 to 8 days a pop. And that's like if you're going to do more than just Magic Kingdom. Like this year, the kids were like, they didn't like the First Order marching around Hollywood Studios, so we really didn't get to do Hollywood Studios the way we wanted to.
They got freaked out by.
Yeah, so if you can experience like at least Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, and really now Animal Kingdom with Pandora is probably going to be a big experience.
Yeah, is that out yet, or is that?
Yeah. Animal Kingdom or Pandora is around now, so
we'll see that this year.
Yeah, I think you can do. Easily, you'll need 4 or 5 days, I think, just to experience. Magic Kingdom it's bigger than Disneyland, just physically. So, like, I feel like you need 2 days to do that, unless you can get good fast pass scheduling.
And we had said that we were not going to go back to Disney for probably 10 years. Like, we can do Universal every 2 years, but Disney, especially when you don't have kids, we weren't thinking that we were going to go back, but I think Pandora and the new Star Wars stuff is getting us to go back. But again, I don't know that we need that much time because, again, Rihanna won't ride the rides.
Yeah.
And I think we're only going for a week this year. Universal is definitely always on our list. And then we're going to try and just do a couple of days.
Yeah, it'll be intriguing when the kids are older for me because we'll start going to Universal as well. So it would be weird, not weird, but it'll be interesting to see what our schedule looks like. But like, I could totally like picture taking...
And Pat like goes back to Disney every year.
Yeah, Disney, I mean, and I think we would if we had the funds, but every 2 years is actually like pretty nice, pretty good. I'm excited to see what they do with the Star Wars World, the Star Wars Hotel. I'm hoping that we can plan it to go around when that's open. But I could do Disneyland, honestly. That seems like a thing I could do every year because you're only doing it for a day.
Yeah.
Then you're going to California Adventures for a day. Then maybe you're going to Universal in Hollywood for a day. Plus we did, and I know you probably have about 5 minutes here if we're going off real time. That's weird.
Edit!
But we did the last day, yesterday actually, we did the Warner Brothers Studio Tour, which was awesome. Like, that was...
Did they have the frog?
I don't know. We didn't ask about it.
How dare they?
They didn't show the frog. We sat on the soundstage for Fuller House.
That's pretty cool.
We sat on the soundstage for Conan. We saw the house that was used for Monica and... Monica and Ross's parents' house.
Oh, okay.
The same stairs that he sat on playing his keyboard when he wanted to take Rachel to prom. We saw, and the last thing you do is a self-guided tour that takes you to the central perk. So apparently, like Warner Brothers, they like reuse everything when they can. One of the few things they couldn't use is the central perk set because that's so iconic that you can't, no matter how much you change it, you can't reuse it.
Yeah.
So they repurposed it as part of Stage 48, which is a self-guided tour. Like, they don't actually do anything in Stage 48. And so and every 15 minutes they recreate a scene where they use you on the couch and you say some lines. We didn't do that. Like, I didn't want to do that, but we got our picture taken on the couch. I got some Central Perk. I got a friend's mug and whatnot, and it was really cool. The only thing that was disappointing is that yesterday they opened the Wonder Woman exhibit. They expanded their DC exhibit to include Batman vs. Superman and Wonder Woman. And it opened yesterday, so when we got there, I think it was closed for press only.
So you didn't get a chance to do it.
And when we were when we were about to leave the store, where they actually have a Central Perk cafe as well, that you can like order coffee at and whatnot, which was pretty damn good, I must say. We were offered the chance to go back to that to see the Wonder Woman exhibit because they had finally opened it to the public. But like, it was 1:30 West Coast time. Our flight was at 6:20. We had like a 45-minute drive. We still had to get gas, get lunch, and whatnot. So like, timing, if we had that extra half hour, if it was 1 o'clock, I totally would have gone back to see it. But so that's the only thing we missed. The whole upstairs thing, which you guys may have dug, was downstairs was the DC exhibit in this one building, and then upstairs was Harry Potter, which was cool. I took a bunch of pictures. Like, I dig Harry Potter, but I'm not like an uber fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but Rihanna is, so she probably would.
They have a sorting hat up there. You can get sorted. It was neat.
They had Noah. Wasn't Noah saying that he could? He was an official sorter.
Oh no, it's and I don't know if it's like the official prop or whatnot from the movie, but
well, they definitely have that in Universal as well. Like they have like the talking animatronic sorting hat and everything like that. So I'm sure they probably have a bunch of them everywhere.
This thing is everything in upstairs was like worn by the cast or used by the cast. Now I don't know about the sorting hat because there was someone there holding it. It wasn't touching their heads. They held it like above the person's head. So maybe it was from the movie. I don't know. But I highly recommend, like, that I think is probably the coolest thing we did was the Warner Brothers tour. And I don't know if that's because I'm just into that world.
Yeah, because you're a big DC fan. You like
not just that, but like I'm into the idea of like working in the industry.
Yeah, that's true too.
So like seeing the behind the scenes of it all, and like the brothers Warner, it was started by 4 guys. They don't believe in wasting anything. So every building, even though there's like people who literally like, I'm the coffee boy. Like whatever building that is, like every building serves a dual purpose. Like like whether it's accounting, the outside of the building can be used as part of a set.
Oh, okay.
So like not one part of that lot is wasted. They use it all, and like you can go there. Like if let's say you and I were living in LA and we're gonna film a movie or something, we can rent one of the houses if we need to film a scene in a house, and like. You have to go to the props department or bring your own props to like put the door handles on, put like appliances in, and put all that bull crap in so that like you can make it look however you want. You can rip down the wallpaper and put on your own stuff. You just have to make it look like how it was when you left it or when you got there.
Interesting.
It's really neat, like finding out like what you can do and like going through the props. So cool. Seeing all the Batmobiles, it was a pretty cool event.
That was your kid in the playground.
It was, yeah, that and the indie ride. They were my 2 highlights of LA. We were there for the LuLaRoe convention. The LuLaRoe convention
somehow just made its way into my car.
Yeah, because I put that in your prize bag. I put that in all the prize bags.
But today, I don't know how it got into my car today.
Oh, it's funny.
It must have been at home, and I must have accidentally picked it up with. And I had no idea that today was the day you got back. So
no, I got back today. All right. That being said, because I know you have to get back to work.
I actually have to go to Staples.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to get a box. I have to send some toners to get some money back.
Oh. That's uninteresting.
I know. But we can edit that out.
All right, where can people find you, Mike?
They can find me on TELUS.com, QuantumQuestGame.com, BlackFurnace.com, all those other places. Twitter. I don't know my Twitter.
TELUS, you fool!
I don't pay attention to social media.
This is your problem. You can find me on Twitter at ThatNerdyKev. That's where I do most of my tweeting and twatting. You can find the show on Twitter at RealAwesomePod. You can find us on AwesomePodcast.com. We're part of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network on CoreTempArts.com.
So angry about being part of that group.
You can also, it has nothing to do with Everything is Awesome, but it has everything to do with Mike and I. You can find a bunch of shows on the That's Entertainment Podcast Network at thatentertains.com/network. That's right, I'm plugging another network, even though I'm on a different network. All the networks, oh my god! For Everything is Awesome, I'm Kev, and we've been awesome!
# all the networks.
Thank you for listening to the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network. To listen to more Core Temp Arts shows, visit coretemparts.com.